Hey y'all, welcome to the Fill-In Station. It's a new day, another opportunity to either make money in this market or to just learn from the market. But first, y'all, let me give my disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor. I just enjoy teaching people how to build generational wealth. And yes, the stock market is just one of those avenues. So this video is for educational purposes only. If you could please like, share, comment, subscribe, y'all. We learn and we grow together. With that being said, let's get started. So we are looking at Tesla, and I say so often, y'all, Tesla does what Tesla does, right? Yesterday we came off of this 330 high from pre-market all the way down to through 273 which is interesting, right? We closed at 284.70, came down to an area. I wanted to mark this, show this area. That's why it's so important that we mark support and resistance. But Tesla kept declining, but it came down to an area that we kind of knew we could possibly have trouble. That's why I say, where are the trouble places, right? We came back up to this area here, created a gathering spot, and it took us back to the upside. So let's start with right now. This is our gathering spot. Where are the trouble places for Tesla? We're going to look back to the upside, and let's see. Yeah, okay, so back to the upside. It looks like we're having trouble at this 20 EMA. We tried to get above that only to get rejected and come back down, right? Back to the upside, we would need to break back above 297.88. We could possibly have trouble again here. 299.75, 301.12. If we should break that 250 EMA as of now is at 302.22. Should we break that, we could possibly have trouble. 302.79, breaking that area. 304.29, and should we break that, we could possibly have trouble. 306.75 and breaking that. 308.47, breaking that brings us back to around 311.28, and of course we could very well get stopped out anywhere between that. So if we should break this area of here 311.28, we could possibly have trouble again. 312.57, and again here at this 315.43, and I've marked this line years and years ago, and as you can see, we kind of got to this on yesterday. So yeah, if you're trading Tesla to the upside, those are possible rejection areas. Now let's look to the downside to figure out where our trouble places are. As of right now, price is kind of at this area. Well, we're breaking that area, so let's look here around the 296.03. For some reason, price has stopped in this area right here. 296.03. Should we break that level, we could very well come back to around 294.95. Breaking that brings us back to around the 293.50 area, or I have here at 293.39. So should we break that, 292.72, and if we break that area, 291.11, breaking that brings us back to around this 289.73, breaking that 288.81, and if we should break that level, 287.35. Now breaking that 287.35 area here, which will bring us back to around 286.50, and again here at 284.99, which is this area here. Now the ATR trailing stop is down here at 283.74, which is interesting because that is kind of right where I have a level mark. Y'all, I love to see that. So if you're trading Tesla today, keep in mind those are possible areas of rejection or support and resistance. And you know, I say so often, y'all, in this market anything is possible, right? So we are now looking at the SPY. We closed at 593.05. We had a market high yesterday. We 599.73, only to come down to 591.05. There we came down and found some support. I had the 591.57 area. Looks like we had double bottom. Well, not really a double bottom. We bounced here. Let's say that moved back to the upside. So this is the zone that we're kind of having trouble in here for the SPY. Support is around, as of now, the 594.96, resistance 595.32. Now to the upside, we will need to break back above this level here, 595.71. Something stopped us in this area. I'm going to see if I can mark that. Something stopped us here at the 595.71, 595.72 area. Should we break that, 595.97, again 596.45, 596.71. Should we break that area, 597.06, and if we break that area, 597.69 is the ATR trailing stop, and a level that we have marked here that is going to be a strong resistance area, in my opinion, for the SPY around that 597.74 area. Should we break that 598.04, again 598.29, and breaking that level brings us back to around this level 598.98. Now should we break that, 599.60 could be a rejection area, and again here at $600.14. Now back to the downside, if we lose this area of support that's been kind of holding us up, it looks like we've just been moving sideways, right? So the 50 EMA is at the 595 area. I have this level 594.96. So breaking that level, we could very well come back to this area 594.62. And if we break that level, we can come back to around 594.17, which is not far from the 200 EMA as of now on this 30-minute chart, which is around the 594.07. Now breaking that brings us back to this area. Prices gathered here, 593.67. If we break that 593.67, we could very well come back to 593.30, and breaking that brings us back to, I'd say we can fill that area in. We are back around the 592.99, and the reason being is because price came to this area here around this 593 area. Yes, here. So from this area to this area, we're kind of filling in a space from here to here. So 593 under that level, 592.62. Should we break that 592.18, and breaking that brings us back to around the 591.57. And keep in mind, y'all, I look at support and resistance on a smaller scale. Why? Because when I'm in the trade, I kind of want to know where my possible support and my resistance is, or my trouble places, as I like to say. So if you are trading this SPY today, those are possible areas to the upside and to the downside, and y'all know I say anything is possible in this market. Yesterday was a great example of that with Tesla, let's say that. Now we are looking at NVDA. We closed at 139.99 after coming off of a 144 high yesterday down to a 137.88 low. But do you see we found support here at a level that I have marked? We moved here, created a gathering spot, moved back to the upside, only to trade sideways. We have found support here in this area around the 140.42. Resistance around the 148.68 excuse me, 140.68 could be, you know, a rejection area for us. Should we break that area, we could very well have trouble. 140.92 again here at this level of 141.17, breaking that for NVIDIA. 140.142. Should we break that, 141.64 again here at 141.88. And if we should break that, you see the ATR trailing stop is at 142, and then we have another area at 142.08. So this 141.88 to the 142.08 could be a strong rejection area for NVIDIA. So if that's something that you trade, I say trade carefully. However, if we break this 142.08, we could very well come back to around 142.42, could possibly have trouble 142.62, and breaking that brings us back to 142.90. Now back to the downside, there's a few layers of support here for NVIDIA. Let's say if we break under the 140.22, we can come back to around 140.08, breaking that 139.89. And if we should break that level, 139.72, breaking that 139.17, let's go back up, breaking that 139.32. Why? Because something stopped us here in this area. Price gathered in this area here, so we could very well come back to 139.29. Breaking that brings us back to around 139.12, breaking that level 138.78, 138.57, and again at 138.43. Not far away either, or we could get stopped out in any of those areas. Now breaking that 138.46 for NVIDIA, we can come back to 138.13, which kind of puts us back into this zone here. So if you are trading NVIDIA today, those are possible areas to the upside and to the downside. And y'all know I say, look, anything is possible in this market. We are now looking at AMD, and as you can see, we closed at 115.69. We have created a gathering spot here. I like to see the zone that it's trading in. We've already marked those levels, right? So we came down, well, we closed at 115.69, only to make a pre-market high yesterday of, you know, a market high yesterday of 119.40. We came down to 114.25. Y'all see we came down to an area that we kind of knew we could possibly have trouble, right? Only to move back to the upside. Support is around the 115.79. Resistance as of now is around the 116.32. So where are the Moving to the upside, if we should break this let's see, 116.32 area, we could very well have trouble 116.54, breaking that. 116.86, breaking that brings us to the ATR trail and stop around 117.29, breaking that brings us back to 117.38. If we break that level, 117.59, and breaking that, 117.89. Should we break that level, 118.25, and again here at 118.66 could possibly be rejection areas for AMD as of now. Now back to the downside, we will be breaking out of this gathering spot. Back to the downside under 115.79, we could very well come back to around 115.42. Let's mark that. Around the 115.39 area, and I just went to where the body of these candles are kind of like forming, what's touching this area here. Price came back to this for a reason, right? So 115.39, should we break that area, 115.20, and breaking that 115.20 somewhere around 115.02, breaking that 114.83, 114.61, and breaking that level brings us back to this zone here, which held us up around the 114.28 area. So if you are trading AMD, those are possible areas to the upside and to the downside. And again, y'all, I say not financial advice. I did see an inside day candle, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, T or AT&T is an inside day candle above 27.85. We have an upside target of 27.97. Now to the downside under 27.33, downside target 27.22. So if T or AT&T is something that you trade, it is an inside day candle. BTU is also an inside day candle. Above 1363, upside target 1379. Now to the downside under 1314, we have a downside target of 1305. BTU is an inside day candle. So is fast, and it is. Yes, we broke through that trigger of 41.41. Upside target was 41.54. We have made a pre-market high of 42.36. So let's look back to the downside under $40.80. Downside target $40.62. So if fast is something that you trade, it is an inside day candle, which we have already reached the target to the upside. And let's see, I do believe Google is an Alphabet Inc. C is an inside day candle. Let's say above this level 171.06, 173.46. Downside under 168.64. Downside target 168.47. So if that's something that you trade, I say trade carefully. Let's look at Meta today, just to see where we are. It seems like we made a high yesterday of 694.38. We closed at 684.62, came down to this 678 area, bounced from there to go back to the upside. Support as of now is around 688.16. Resistance is here, let's say around this area of 690.80. So something is stopping us in this area, and as you can see, that's where we are here. So 690.80 is a rejection area, for a possible rejection area for us. 691.79 is the ATR trailing stop, possible rejection area. 692.34 possible rejection area. So there's a lot of resistance here for Meta as of now. However, if we should break above the 692.34, we could very well have trouble 694.21. Breaking that, we could possibly have trouble 695.66. Breaking that brings us back to 698.27. Breaking that level brings us back to around $700.99. And if we should break that, 703.51 could be a rejection area for us. Now, if we break that 703.51 or 52 area, we have the next level here at 705.50. So if you are trading Meta today, those are possible rejection areas or resistance areas. Let's look to the downside under this 688.16. There's a few layers of support here that could very well stop us out. So let's say the 50 EMA as of now 686.64. Should we break that, 685.28. Breaking that level brings us back to around 683.96. Again at 682.86. I need to mark that one here because something stopped us in this area. Yes, so that 683.96 again here at 682.86 and breaking that 681.46, under that 679.85. Now if we break this area here, it's going to be an area of support that held us up on yesterday. Let's say under the 678 area, should we break that 678 here, we could very well come back to this area that I have marked already at the 675.90. I'm going to take that off because I always do that, and I need to remove it because it's not, yes. Okay, so if by chance we break under the 678 area, we have here 675.90, and as you can see, y'all, that's kind of like where that 200 EMA is as of now. I like to see that 675.61. So if you're trading Meta today, those are possible areas of support and resistance. Now, should we break this 200 EMA on this 30-minute chart as of now, 675.61, we could very well come back to 673.45, and again here at 671.64, 669.41, and under that 660, let's say right here, 667.38. So if you are trading Meta today, those are possible areas of rejection. And notice I say possibly, y'all, because in this market anything is possible. So this is what I see when I look at the market. There's so many different ways to trade the market. I say that often, y'all. There's so many different ways to trade the market, and what's challenging is trying to figure out what strategy works best for you and having the discipline to execute your plan. So make sure you use your stop losses or whatever it is that you choose to use. Make sure you have the discipline to execute your plan. So I hope that everyone have a very profitable day, very productive day today. And again, if you could please like, share, comment, subscribe, y'all, because we learn and we grow together. Until next time, be blessed as well as a blessing unto others.